Some people measure wealth in noise. I measured in silence. The Harrington family Thanksgiving had always been a coronation in disguise. The formal dining room at Greystone Manor glittered like a jewelry box, baccarat crystals, orchids flown in from Singapore, china that cost more per plate than a new grad's first paycheck. At the head of the table sat Victoria, 35, ice blonde, and freshly minted Forbes cover girl after taking her AI cybersecurity firm, NextGuard, from a $600 million IPO to a $4.1 billion valuation in 30 months. Opposite her, our father raised a toast to the future of the family empire. Everyone knew who that future was. I, Sophia Harrington, 32, sat 3 seats down, quietly carving my turkey while Victoria's latest monologue rolled over me like expensive perfume. "Darling Soph," she sighed, swirling a 1996 Chateau Margaux, "there's hobby trading, and then there's actual capital allocation. One day you'll thank me for pushing you toward professionals." Her husband, Grant, smirked. "What are we talking? A couple $100,000 in ETFs? Adorable." Mom patted my hand with that practiced pity. Not everyone is built for the spotlight, sweetheart. Victoria's inner circle, her CFO Liam, COO Priya, and General Counsel Nolan, chuckled on cue. They'd all been invited to family dinner because Victoria never missed a chance to remind the world she no longer needed oxygen. Applause was enough. I smiled, took a bite of cranberry relish, and let them talk. My phone buzzed once, twice, 8 times. I silenced it. Victoria noticed. "Sophia, really. Some of us are trying to enjoy civilization." "Sorry," I murmured, glancing at the screen under the table. 23 missed calls. All from the same private wealth desk at Morgan Stanley. Subject line screaming in all caps. Before I could stand, the double doors slammed open. Victoria's assistant, barely 25 and shaking, rushed in, still clutching her coat. "Ms. Harrington, trading's halted. Dumped 4.1% of NextGuard at yesterday's close. Stocks down 42% in 90 minutes. The board's convening emergency session in an hour. SEC's already calling." Victoria laughed, short, sharp, disbelieving. "Impossible. Vanguard and BlackRock are locked up for years." "Not institutional," the assistant whispered. "Individual holder. Hidden behind nested LLCs. They sold $410 million worth at $92.10. Shares at $53 and falling." Liam was already scrolling Bloomberg. Circuit breakers triggered twice. CNBC's calling it the fastest billion-dollar wipeout since 22. Nolan looked up slowly, face bloodless. Transfer agent just flagged the seller. The shares traced to Harrington Quiet Trust. "That's Sophia's vehicle." You could have heard snowfall. Victoria turned to me like I'd grown a second head. "You don't have $400 million. "I do now," I said, voice soft. Priya found her voice. "When did you start buying?" 8 years ago, I answered. Grandpa's trust distributed $10 million to each grandchild when I turned 24. I put 2 into NextGuard Pre-Series C at $11 a share. Kept adding quietly every time you bragged that nobody smart would touch us below 90. Victoria stood so fast her chair toppled. "You've been my largest individual shareholder for 5 years and never said a word?" "You never asked," I said. "You were too busy explaining to me how money actually works." Grant tried for a joke that died in his throat. "So the broke sister just made, what, 380 clear?" 378 after taxes, I corrected. Dad's Scotch glass slipped from his fingers and shattered on the marble. Nolan kept reading, voice flat. Bloomberg's live updating, SEC opened a formal investigation into revenue recognition this morning. Something about channel stuffing multi-year contracts and capitalizing R&D that should have been expensed. They're quoting an anonymous source who sent the full forensic package last week. Victoria's eyes snapped to me. I read your 10Qs, I said. Every quarter the same trick, booking full contract value on signature, not delivery. I ran the cohort analysis myself. When burn met runway and the numbers still looked pretty, I knew the music was stopping. So I left the dance floor. "You destroyed everything I built," she screamed. "No," I said, standing at last. You built a house of cards and called it a cathedral. I just walked out before the wind hit. Liam finally looked up from his phone, defeated. Victoria, the board's asking for your resignation by morning or they'll vote you out. Class action firms are already filing. Mom was sobbing into Dad's shoulder. Dad couldn't stop staring at me like I was a stranger wearing his daughter's face. Victoria's voice cracked. How much are you worth, Sophia? Actually worth. I met her eyes. North of 1.2 billion liquid. Another 800 in long-term holds. You spent years telling me I was playing small. The room was so quiet I heard the grandfather clock tick. Victoria laughed once, wet, broken. All this time we were the charity case. Funny, I said, picking up my coat, that's exactly what I came here to be thankful for. I walked out past the news vans already crowding the gates, cameras flashing like lightning. Behind me, the empire my sister had worn like armor collapsed in real time. Some people measure wealth in noise. Turns out the quiet ones were just waiting for the right moment to drop the loudest bomb of all.